What's up? If you've ever fired a two-handed rifle in virtual reality, you'll know that it's extremely difficult. Your hands shake all over the place, and due to the parallax effect, scopes become essentially impossible to use. Luckily, the clever folk over at Protube have developed a solution. The MAGTUBE is a high-quality, innovative accessory for Oculus and Vive that allows for more consistent aim and a deeper sense of immersion in games like Onward and PAVLOV, as well as an essential tool in VR esports. I've got a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to run down through the list of my thoughts and put some gameplay footage over the top. Before I get started, massive thanks to Borin for even sending me this Protube. Even though he has essentially sponsored it, he's also asked me to be as honest as humanly possible, so I'm not going to be holding back on any of my thoughts. If there's any negatives, I will be saying them. We'll be looking at the carbon fibre Protube with the mag cups and the strap and the bipod. So it's going to be the best possible Protube that money can buy, essentially, is what I'm looking at today. The next iteration, the reason why this one is called the MAGTUBE instead of the Protube, is because you can snap these handles off and then you can snap them straight back on. So, whoop-ah! See that? I can literally hold this stock and manipulate it in the air just on a single magnet without it falling off. These magnets are pretty strong. They're definitely strong enough. When you first get this stock, it arrives like folded up on itself. You unfold it, you put your control, you whack your controllers in. It comes with a piece of paper with instructions of how to set it up best. But once you tighten it up, once you get the Allen key and you tighten all these connections, then the whole thing becomes solid as a rock. Like the whole thing really tightens together. The carbon fibre poles are ridiculously light. They're stupidly light. The patchwork sort of carbon fibreness, very nice, very nice. This is also designed to be customizable on the fly, and it uses these twisty knobs to achieve that. So you can unloosen this, you can just loosen it, you don't unloosen it, and then you can slide it up and down this carbon fibre pole, which means that if you're in a game and you're switching from, for example, a rifle to an SMG and you need a shorter grip, I can loosen this, pull it in, tighten it back up, and then I'm set, ready to go. The same thing is true of the angle of attack of this cup. Highly adjustable, 6.5 out of 6.5 adjustables. Protube like engraved on the stock. It's got the Protube logo everywhere, like I don't know if you can see it. Whilst it is fully adjustable, I found that to get the most solid setup, I really had to use some needle nose pliers on these twisty knobs, and that isn't really that easy to do on the fly. Like if I was in the middle of a game, I wouldn't grab my handy needle nose pliers and whip, 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 whip. Right, now I want to talk about the cups a little bit. I'm just so super impressed. Like, I first heard about 3D printing a while ago and was really skeptical. I thought it was a load of rubbish, but after seeing this has changed my mind. These are designed so that when you attach them to the magnet, they're quite difficult to pull off this way, but super easy to pull off sideways. What it essentially means is that when you're holding it and you've got that brace going, you're not going to accidentally punch yourself in the face. They don't really ever come off by accident, at least not in my experience. They've actually 3D printed a little hole here so that you can put your wrist straps through the bottom of the cup. Because it's so adjustable, you can have like a really long setup or you can have a pretty short compact setup. I could Photoshop, I could superimpose an MP5. I reckon it would line up pretty well. And indeed, when you're in game, everything does line up extremely well. Nonetheless, having any stock is quite space consuming. This is a bit of an important point because I feel like it will affect a lot of people. As soon as you add in a stock, you are adding a lot more space. In this room, I would be playing a league match and something really important would happen behind me. And instead of being able to whip round straight away, like I used to do handheld, I used to be like, whoop-ah! But now I had to sort of, you know, watch my space, make sure I'm not going to smash anything. The bottom line here is the more space you have, the more viable the stock is. And when you're trying to play as competitively as possible, that can become a real problem. The Protube is also the official sponsor of the VR Master League as well, so it is sort of the go-to solution for a lot of people. Onward recently had the Oculus Invitational event where 4 top teams got flown out to the UK to compete, and it was a really huge deal. And when you watch the live footage back, most of the players have stocks, and a lot of the players had this stock specifically. The best players in the world at some of these games use exactly this product in order to win matches, which is a huge deal. But of course they had lots of space to play in, and here it's not so great. This is a bottom mount stock, which makes a huge difference in terms of occlusion. You can see that the way that these controllers are mounted on the stock, there is nothing between these sensors and the transmitters on the controllers. So there is absolutely no occlusion with this, really. it's difficult to find blind spots for this. I have one definitive criticism that's definitely something that I reckon they could listen to. These loops that you thread the strap through are a little bit flimsy sometimes. I was crouched down and I stood up, and at the same time as standing up I stood on the strap, and that tension just broke straight through. You can see like this is broken straight through. Onto the bipod. This nifty attachment folds out to provide a solid base for long distance sniping. It has a few features such as quick release and sprung loaded legs, and all in all is super high quality. If sitting in the corner of the map with a 12 times scope is your thing, this is guaranteed to make your life a lot easier. It eliminates all handshake and makes long range sniping way more viable. That said, it also adds a lot of weight, and just like a bipod in real life, requires you to set up a bit of a firing position to be useful. In other words, it's a bit situational, but absolutely awesome if you find yourself in that situation. Personally, I haven't used it very much, but only because I'm working at improving in other areas of the game. I can definitely see myself using it a lot more in the future. This is straight up the best option for what it does. It is infallibly the greatest virtual reality stock available. I haven't tried every single one, but just the design of this one is just so good, I'm fairly confident saying it. I can't imagine anything else would be as adjustable and suit all the needs of virtual reality games. I really do think that this is getting to be the perfect design. I think people would struggle to come up with anything better than this. I know it sounds like high praise, but it honestly is the case. It's obviously been designed by somebody who cares passionately about the subject matter and really wants to create a product that works to his own extremely high standards or requirements. Just in case you fancied hearing some more opinions, I hopped into Onward and asked a few players what they thought.
Okay, so hey, I'm Srilanken1. I play on Ronin right now, so it's a new team. No, I mean, it takes getting used to, right? Like anything. But once you start getting more familiar with it, you do start to you notice your aim will get better, like dramatically. Pros and cons. First of all, anybody without a stock is going to always, not always, but 90% of the chance they'll get the quick draw on you. For aiming, it's obviously going to be a lot better for aiming, not just for long distance, but I find even for short and medium distance, it's great. Yeah, I always use this strap because what I find, especially with the MAGTUBE now, you kind of have to, because you're prone to take them off, right, and they'll fall. Like you'll just drop the stock. Standout, I've used it in and stuff like that. I've used it. Standout's the only other real game that has the similar kind of gun handling, so as Onward. So any game that requires precise shooting, I would use the stock. I highly recommend the Protube over any other stocks. If you're, you want a good stock that you can adjust and you can use it for different guns, and that it's modular, that you can actually add the magnetic pieces to it as well, I think that's the best stock on the market right now, to be honest with you. And it's a bit pricier, but the value and the build quality is there.
Hi, my name is MrDeath. I'm the community manager for this game. My main thing is make sure your cheek rest suits your scope, especially the height of the scope. So if you put your cheek on the cheek rest, your eye should be directly behind the scope. Also, just spending more time with your stock, getting to learn where your hands are supposed to sit. I lean my bipod on my desk. I've got my desk right here in my play space. I can put it on top of it. As you can see, it's very stable. I like the weight. It helps me keeping the gun steady, even though when I'm standing, just standing tall like this. So my biggest negative so far is reloading for sure. If you have to take them out like the AK, you sometimes hit the tubes with your controllers. Many people think that the Protube is the most premium product. You're gonna have to pay a full buck for it, but that's not true. There's a kit version of the Protube, basically a version you're gonna have to assemble yourself. You'll save a few bucks on it as well.
That about summarizes my thoughts on the MAGTUBE. If you enjoyed this review, please drop a like and subscribe, as there is definitely more VR content on the way.